Buying tickets to sports and concerts can be way too complicated, but there is a better, simpler way to buy. SeatGeek is the smartest, easiest way to get tickets to live events. And right now, get a $20 rebate on your first purchase. Just download the SeatGeek app and enter promo code Batard today.
Once again, the show that's off the air is better than the show that's on the air, because this is exactly what happened. I'm telling you this as it happened, as I experienced it. It's me walking in and getting good morning. Stugotz is talking about how he started in Stugotz his weekly predictions. He thinks it's 1-4 and thinks it shouldn't count. So he starts there, right? He thinks he started the season 1-4, and then he starts explaining why it shouldn't count. But while he's talking about why it shouldn't count, Mike Ryan is in the background just sort of muttering, did you know that Jim McElwain and Colin Cowherd were college roommates? You know what I think of when I think of their college dorm room? Teeth. That's what Mike Ryan says. A lot of teeth in that dorm room.
We all laughed.
Well, we were laughing about the idea. Do you have that sound on Jim McElwain? Because I walked in. I mean, all of this was happening. This is what I was greeted by. Stugotz starts 1-4. Mike's muttering about Jim McElwain, and I hear playing in the background on the speakers just something droning and boring. And it sounds like a guy who's trying real hard to be philosophical and failing with every syllable as I'm listening to it. And I'm like, who the hell is that? What is that? So just play that sound.
Our opportunity to play the ball game this weekend is something our guys are looking forward to. And yet, it's one of those things that sometimes you got to sit back and put into perspective. Through this storm that hit us here the last week, there is no normal. I think sometimes we get really caught up in what we do and realize that ultimately, sometimes 3rd down and 7 is not the most important thing in life.
And so I just said to Guillermo, I didn't even know who was talking. Now I know it's Jim McElwain, and now I understand the Colin Cowherd, Jim McElwain roommate situation. But I just told Guillermo before the show to put it on the poll, is 3rd down and 7 the most important thing in Jim McElwain's life, before we'd even started the show? Because I believe that if I came, there was a time in the Michigan game that if I had stood next to Jim McElwain and said, Jim, you could convert this 3rd and 7, but a terrible storm is going to hit an island. Will you do it?
He'd take the first down.
He'd be like, first down. What are you talking about, McElwain? We saw how you addressed your naked shark controversy. 3rd and 7 is the most important thing in your life.
Always.
Always.
Yes, no matter what's going on. More important than his kids, he has 3 of them.
Now there's Stugotz. Once again, he cannot. He's simply. Why are you allergic to subtle? Why?
I just am.
Weren't we fine just destroying a small island? Why did you need?
Even worse, you workshopped that line before the show and got no reaction.
The worst. Why does he have no subtlety, Mike? What's the matter with him?
Oh, man. You're asking now what's the matter with me?
No, keep going.
The question's 13 years too late.
Would Jim McElwain kill himself right on the sideline 1,000 times in order to convert that first down? Yes, Stugotz, that's what he would do. Way to ruin it.
Debatable.
Josh Richardson signs for 4 years, $42 million. Good contract?
Don't know.
I don't know.
Is it?
Can someone tell me?
Is he happy with it?
It appears. I don't know.
I think that he'd just have a lot of movable contracts in the event that an Anthony Davis becomes available.
Okay.
All right.
We covered that,
Good contract.
I guess.
But all that instead of being in play for a big free agent, their plan B is everybody gets a 4-year deal. And I wonder, and I have not talked to Riley or anybody in the Heat organization about this, but I wonder if this is Riley setting it up to go. Because it feels, what's he going to do? He's going to sit here and watch this for 4 years when he's got no chance?
No.
And again, I have not talked to Riley about this. I know he's talked about this. For the last 15 years, he's talked about retiring and going to Malibu.
I think he is interested this year in if what happened last year, second half of the season, can carry over for an entire season. If all these guys play together.
But they don't have a chance. They don't have a chance to win anything.
Right.
And Riley's built the team, and it's a team that has, as built, very little flexibility. I mean, you could start trading pieces, like that becomes the flexibility. But how much room is there for Pat Riley to work now?
Not a lot of room. So he's going to have to trade some of these guys if he wants to make something big happen in the next.
Does it not feel to you when you see these contracts come through and you're giving Waiters and you're giving Johnson, James Johnson, you're giving everybody 4 years? Does it not feel like, okay, this is what it's going to be for 4 years, and he can trade pieces because he always trades pieces?
I guess it feels like that, but with Riley, you just never know. Like, he's always working on something, and it's usually something really, really big. So, yes, it feels like that, and I understand why people would feel like that right now, but you have to have faith in the guy who's pulled off major trades and acquisitions.
You can have faith in him, but what they were going for this offseason is what Boston did.
Right.
And they didn't achieve it. Sure. And so what they settled for was, okay, all our guys for 4 years, which keeps you from doing what Boston did through those 4 years. You're not going to be able to do the we'll get one piece and then trade for another. So you're behind, but you're stable. And if you're behind and stable, what is Pat Riley going to sit this through for 4 years for?
I don't know if this is part of some overarching plan from Pat. I just think times are changing. And someone made the observation while all this was happening, and we heard that Gordon Hayward interview that he did on the Woj podcast, he's not of the era that even remembers Pat Riley. Get him in a room with Riley is now let him get in the gym with Eric Spoelstra. Players are more excited to talk to Eric Spoelstra. He's the Pat Riley now. He's the guy with the championship rings. He's the guy they've seen do it. It's just times changing.
But I'm still asking you the question, though, of do you expect Riley to be here at the end of these 4 years?
No.
I do.
Really?
I do.
How old is Riley now?
Because I read that article, and it seems as though he's been getting retirement in place for decades now.
Yeah, but it seems like he's like at this. It just seems like he's really torn. He's always been torn. But Mike, at some point, he's gonna.
Dude,
I've joked with him for years that he's going to still be running the franchise 10 years after his death. That he's just they're going to prop him up in there, and they're going to let him keep doing it.
72 right now, so he's going to play this out with this roster until he's 76.
The thing that I'm saying to you guys is I've never seen him do quite this. When he's been running the Heat, there's always been an obvious next move that they're trying to put together. Here, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, wait a minute. They just locked up everything that's 4 years, and it's all pretty average? Like, it's all – and we could say, look, they surprised people in the second half of the season, whatever. They didn't make the playoffs in an Eastern Conference that was really weak.
Right.
And so 4 years on something that doesn't have an all-star and something that doesn't have any real championship chance.
I think they provided themselves flexibility, though. We mentioned these contracts, and they're movable. They're movable assets. And you did a lot of asset building last season. Guys like Dion Waiters have infinitely more value now than they did last season. Guys
I would say
like James
more
Johnson.
Value. I wouldn't go infinitely.
Okay, fair enough.
But more value, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
He built up the value. They built up the value of a lot of those guys last year. And those are good contracts. And if team feels like they're going to lose a superstar, why not look to the Heat and trade for some of those assets?
And more important than even asset building, they really rebuilt the reputation mid-season of the Miami Heat. They got that culture back, and people are starting to drink the Kool-Aid, and I think that's really important. But when I read that article that was done, that profile on Pat Riley,
By Wright Thompson,
I don't believe this is a person that can say, wait, even if he has the press conference and says he's stepping away from it, I think he'd be back. If not with the Heat, maybe in some sort of Jerry West role with some other franchise. I just don't see him staying away from the game.
Well, how about this? We've talked in the last 2 or 3 weeks, we've talked about how the Patriots do not overspend, that the Patriots have value at every position. It looks like the Miami Heat have good contracts, that they don't have a lot of contracts that you point to and say, oof, that one hurts. They're stuck with that guy.
Right.
I wish they could amnesty him. But are they? Are they good contracts? Because I would argue that James Johnson, last year, that was a good contract. Dion Waiters, last year, that was a good contract. Hassan Whiteside, 2 years ago, that was a good contract. When you've got to spend on these guys, are they good contracts? Yes or no? Are they value?
Is I don't know an okay answer here, because I don't know how the salary cap's going to keep moving. I don't know how these players are going to play. That's an important question.
I'm asking the question because I don't know.
James Johnson, you would think it's a good contract, but he's older. He's sneaky old. He's been in the league for a long time, and he just took his game up another level while he was here.
I wish that there was a way to do it differently than this. That if they can make Dion Waiters and James Johnson and Whiteside into these guys, then they could do it with other guys too on better contracts. Now you're locked up for 4 years and you have some flexibility within that, but you don't have an all-star within that.
You mentioned the Celtics, and I do actually think that's an interesting comparison, because what they're building right now seems like what the Celtics did for several years without the first-round draft picks, which is huge.
They had more
first-round draft picks.
More valuable assets.
Yes, but they rode with a team that was good enough to get into the playoffs and build and be a team eventually that was a superstar or two away from really making some noise.
But they had stuff
to the finals.
But Mike, they had stuff that got them Kyrie Irving back. I don't know if the Heat have enough to get a guy like that back.
No,
Johnson at it's a great point by you. Johnson at $60 million over 4 years.
They lost Kyrie Irving to the Celtics. They didn't have enough to offer. They did not have enough to offer.
Right, I'm saying they don't have the same kind of assets that the Celtics had. The Celtics were able to use those and parlay them, and they still can. They can do more, but parlay it into Kyrie Irving. I don't know if James Johnson and Dion Waiters, if there's enough value there to get yourself back, a great player. Probably not.
We've been off and on a lot because of storms and late summer vacation, and the only thing that we know about that Kyrie Irving Heat business was what was reported in the Woj column and what was refuted publicly through several local beat writers. Do you have any sort of information on what the Cavs were asking?
They wanted 5 players. They wanted 5 Heat players.
Good ones?
Yeah.
Are there any good ones, though?
Yes.
Hassan, they wanted
not Justice Winslow and yes.
Damn.
So it's like Waiters, Johnson, Whiteside. They wanted all that for Gore and Dragic.
They wanted 5 guys. You got to make the contracts work. However it is that you arrive, I don't think that works. You can't have Dragic and Whiteside in that deal and have the contracts work.
Which means we would have probably got Channing Frye.
But you would have. They wanted. So that's where you are with it. And the Heat didn't have what was necessary to make that happen. It never got any kind of close. But regardless, the Celtics are ahead of you. And you're right in the comparison that the Heat are now trying to do it the way that the Celtics did, but without the assets. And the assets are what help you lure others, not just when you have to trade for Kyrie Irving and give up one of them, but when you're trying to lure Gordon Hayward and you're saying, look, this is our plan. We have a plan. What I'm looking at here, I'm like, well, what's the plan? And I'm not saying they don't have one. I'm saying I'm looking at it and I can't see it from where I'm standing, even with flexible contracts. Like if Cleveland wants 5 guys for Kyrie Irving,
right?
The hell is New Orleans going to want for Anthony Davis? And you don't have it.
No, you don't.
Whatever they want, you don't have it.
Well, maybe you have it, but other teams have more.
I don't think you have it, Stugotz. How can you get in the game?
Because if you're the Pelicans and you think that Anthony Davis is going to leave your team, he's not going to re-sign with you, maybe the best deal you can get is a Whiteside, a Dragic, something like that. Maybe. I'm just saying maybe.
It's not a plan that it's a plan B is what it is.
Right.
And not a very good one. Not what Heat fans have come to expect. A plan B where all your salary cap is tied up and you have how many all-star appearances on the roster? Is it actually 0? Is it 0 all-star appearances on the entire roster?
I mean, Dragic has never been there, right? No.
Like, if you'd be laughing at the idea of this if I was presenting it to you as somebody else's plan.
100%.
If I was presenting to a Miami Heat fan this as Sacramento's plan, you got all your salary cap tied up in 4-year deals with Dion Waiters and Hassan Whiteside, and furthermore, you don't have an all-star appearance on the roster. You'd be like, that can't do anything.
Totally, you're right. What gives me hope is what they did second half of last season. But you're right. Like, take that away from me, and I'm going into this season like, wow, this is going to be a disaster.
But even if you top out at what the Celtics were last year, I thought that Heat team could have beaten that Celtics team. But even if you top out at that, still, what are you? You're still not good enough.
I'm in it. I'm hopeful, and I don't think we'll win the Eastern Conference. And the rest of the nation is looking at Tyler Johnson and what I think of him and laughing at me.
Okay, keep your eyes closed.
Okay.
I want to show you my first ever painting.
All right.
Okay. Open your eyes.
Oh, that's a lot of colors and shades.
So be honest. What do you think?
Well, I like how if you switch to Geico, you could save hundreds of dollars on car insurance.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Here, why don't I hold your paintbrush while you call them?
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
Don Le Batard.
Another guy writes in, can you kiss LeVar Big Ballers bleep anymore? He's a loudmouth idiot living life through his son.
Don't dare us to kiss his bleep some more, because we will.
We'll wash his balls. I don't think I did that right.
No.
Stugotz.
Did you do that?
What I did there, if you really want to classify it, is identified as I made a mistake.
When did you know that you had made a mistake?
I did. Well, I would say right around where I got the looks of horror. I would say that's when I realized it. It felt wrong coming out of my mouth. Let me rephrase that.
This is the Don Le Batard show with the Stugotz on the ticket.
Did you guys see that clip of Snoop Dogg ripping the style of rap that there is now? That he's like, everybody's like, the mumble rap. And he sounded so old. And I'm like, no, Snoop, Snoop. So many texters are writing in, calling me the urinator on the Miami Heat. Yep. Furious with me, except for this one guy who said, I haven't really paid attention to the Heat since LeBron left, but how insane is it that I just now realized Josh Richardson is black?
That's on him.
Yeah.
What do you mean it's on him?
It's on him.
You think that's the only person that happened to?
Very good run 2 years ago.
Yep.
Was on fire. Was Steph Curry from three.
Says he wasn't paying attention to the
He made the playoffs. 3 seed. Come on. The disrespect.
Wait, you think there are more people out there who are just realizing that Josh Richardson is black?
I'm not. No, not now. I'm saying that some people at one time didn't know whether Josh Richardson, before the Heat drafted him, whether Josh Richardson was white or black, although many of them would have assumed he was black. A lot of people would have gotten it wrong, too.
Wait till you figure out what to do with Tyler Johnson.
So what I want to ask you guys as you accuse me of being the urinator, because I feel like I've just given you both facts and places where I'm asking questions that I don't know the answer to. I'm giving you facts when I say they don't have an all-star appearance on the roster and all their money's tied up.
Right. Those are facts.
And all their money's tied up for 4 years. Yep. In a bunch of guys who on that roster have not made an all-star game. But what I want to ask you is this, because I feel like here is the disconnect between the realistic Heat fan and the delusional Heat fan. This is the line. I'm about to give you exactly where the line is, and it's not Josh Richardson signing a 4-year, $42 million contract. Here's the line between the realistic Heat fan and the delusional Heat fan. What was your reaction to the Olynyk contract? Because the realistic fan groaned at that contract, and the delusional Heat fan talked himself into it.
It was a piece, another piece.
That is not that. I looked at that signing and was like, oh no, I didn't think he was going to get any money. Never mind $50 million. I thought he was going to be waived by the Celtics. That Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward, that they weren't going to be able to trade Olynyk for anything, and that Olynyk wasn't going to be able to get money.
Well, he was renounced to make room for guys like Hayward. They weren't bringing him back. I thought someone was going to give him that contract, or maybe more. I just didn't think it would be the Miami Heat.
I did not see that contract coming, but I think that that's the line that I would mark on, because how did you react to the Olynyk contract? We weren't on the air.
I was at a hibachi place. And I sat in stunned silence for a good 10 minutes.
Really?
Even as the onion boat came by.
That's amazing. Even when he flipped a shrimp tail in his hat?
that chef must have been working so hard.
He did the. He tried to cheer me up. He tried to cheer me up by making the heart out of the fried rice and made it beef by putting the spatula underneath.
A little extra. Yeah, the arrow that
someone
goes through
punched me in the stomach. But I did talk myself into it.
Yum yum.
I go ginger yum yum.
That's right. I go yum 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 yum. Yum yum.
Do you guys realize that you just reminded me of that Amsterdam prostitution story with the idea?
How would I know that?
Yeah.
Because I've told you
Talking
this.
to Bocce, man.
Because I've told you this story before, and all right, here we go.
I know the story. I'm just trying to figure out the connection point.
Well, I don't want to tell the whole
Yum
story.
Is it yum yum sauce?
No, I'm sorry. Probably should have clarified there. The prostitution story and yum yum sauce, those two things don't have anything to do with each other.
Shrimp tail?
No, well, kind of. How hard?
Some sort of crustacean.
No, this is. I don't know. This is such a wrong place to end up. Okay, so I'm going to tell the short version. I'm just in the red light district. I'm scared, and I don't want to go into one of the booths, but a woman who's in one of the booths is rejecting everybody else. So as part of peer pressure, I give into it and thinking the woman's just going to tell me to go away. She does not tell me to go away. She invites me into the room. I hear like all sorts of stuff in the walls. I'm scared. I'm in a different country. I'm feeling like I'm going to be abducted. Just not the right way to feel the heights of pleasure. And so as she keeps asking me, like, what's wrong? Was work really hard? And I just fled the premises. I just gave her the money and I just left. And so I imagine this chef in the hibachi place, like happily throwing the shrimp on his hat. And that's like his big finish. It always works. And Mike's still sad. And the chef's like, what's the matter? Did you have a hard day at work? Nah, he just signed a Linux.
He even busted out the old mustard container that you squeeze and a string comes out. Thinking oh no, mustard's coming my way. I just sat there.
Pulling all the
like
tricks
Rust
out,
Cole.
Unhappy ending.
I've been thinking about this story. Do you think she picked you because she knew that would happen and she wouldn't have to do anything to get the money?
I was so embarrassed. I told you guys. Do you guys realize I was so embarrassed? I was embarrassed like a number of different ways, not the least of which was that I walked right back out into that crowd that was outside the door when I walked in. It took me all of 2.5 minutes. So they thought that I was just done. They're not assuming that I'd be scared and just run out. They're assuming that all of it took that long for me.
They're making fun of you afterwards.
Right. It's just,
and she's saying no. We did nothing. He just paid me and left the room.
She's not saying anything. No, she's not helping. No, Stugotz, I'm not using her as a notary. No, she didn't even speak English. She was just asking me what she could about this aquarium.
That's the move, though, right? Like,
because I'm from Miami, so she's like, Miami, aquarium.
That's known around the world.
Really?
They know about Lolita's bathtub?
Yeah, she knew about it. For some reason, she knew about this aquarium. She wanted to talk about this aquarium.
If I was in that line of work, I would pick the most timid people where I could just double down on all the money. I just keep getting people that are going to be paying me to go away.
Time out. We got to pause here.
Guillermo, I can't think that there are many people like me. Usually outside of the red light district, there aren't a lot of timid people.
What about this aquarium?
Yeah, this is very strange.
Okay,
Please explain.
because I was nervous. I'm scared. I've told you guys this story already.
No, you didn't tell us about this aquarium.
Yes, I did.
I know. We've heard this already. This is a new detail, the aquarium detail.
Roy knows the details. Roy remembers.
The aquarium detail? You remember the aquarium detail? That makes
That's all she said. It's all she could say in English.
How is this aquarium?
No, it was
weird.
No.
She asked where you were from?
No, yes, she asked where I was from.
All right, so you said Miami?
I said Miami. And then I said something along the lines, have you ever been to Miami? And her response was, yes, I've been to this aquarium. And then she started asking questions about this aquarium.
Doesn't sound awkward at all.
Dan Le Batard.
Touchdown Miami's aquarium, Lolita. Come see Flipper. Come see Lolita swim in a bathtub.
Stugotz.
Come see sharks, possibly drugs, swimming in green water. Spend $5 on a wax figure that you'll regret as soon as you get home.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on the ticket.
A texter writes in, can we hear some wake and take today? Sure. Let's go ahead and do it. 786-456-4837 is the telephone number if you want to do Wake and Take.
Let's go with a short open, though.
That's all it takes?
Yeah.
A texter asking for it?
I mean, not always, but this time.
All right.
786-456-4837 is the telephone number if you guys want to do Wake and Take. I didn't eliminate Wake and Take. You guys can do Wake and Take as much as you want. I'm totally fine with Wake and Take.
I don't even know if Stugotz has notes that people need to get from him.
I always have notes, Mike. Don't worry about it. Always have notes. I'm always taking notes, but give me the short open, please.
And now, back to Wake and Take with Stugotz. Call now, 786-456-4837.
All right, here's how it works on Wake and Take here on 790 The Ticket. I have thoughts, I have notes, I have opinions, and sure, it'd be easy. I'm sitting here in front of an open live mic to share those opinions, thoughts, and notes with you, but I'm not. It is your job to get those out of me. You have to ask the right questions. So we'll get to your phone calls in just a second, 786-456-4837. But first, I interview Mike Ryan. Mike, I was jotting down some notes here during the break. Not last night, during the break. You can make an argument, and I'm wondering if you agree with me, that the Heat are better, because Dan's talking about the Heat and how they have no shot, and they have these guys on 4-year deals, and they'll be a playoff team, but not a team that's going to do any sort of real winning, important winning. You make an argument, the Celtics, who are one of the two favorites in the East, that the Heat, at 5 of the starting 5 positions, the Heat have the better player at 3 of those 5 positions. Made that argument. Dragic and Kyrie. Obviously, that goes to the Celtics. Dion Waiters and Marcus Smart. I think Dion Waiters. Gordon Hayward and whoever the Heat start at small forward, it doesn't matter because Hayward's better. James Johnson and Jason Tatum or Morris. And I'll take Johnson over either of those guys for next year only. Tatum might be good in a couple of years. And then Whiteside over Horford. 3 out of the 5 positions. Mike Ryan, do you agree?
When you look at it that way, yeah.
Yeah, championship.
No, but
Eastern Conference championship.
But that's not how you do it, though.
That's how I do it.
The 2 far outweigh the 3 advantage that the Heat have.
I don't know about that. I mean, Waiters and Smart, that's a pretty big gulf right there.
Well, Guillermo laughed at that. Guillermo, that right there, honest to God, one of the first thoughts I had as a human being was, man, that's unfair that my father argues that way, that I present facts to him and his response is, I don't know about that. And it's sort of like what it's like living in America in 2017, actually. I mean, I don't know about that is just fake news.
How do you argue that, though? You can't.
No, that's correct.
But
the best part, one of the earliest thoughts I had, I would present an argument that had facts in it. And my father would be, I don't know about that. And it's like, but those are facts.
Debatable.
Right. If you say, I don't know about that to anything that is factual, like the conversation just dies right there.
Yeah.
All right, agree to disagree.
So I'm right. And then if you want to take it one step further, look at the Cavaliers roster. Because Isaiah Thomas is a mess. His hip is an absolute mess. Heat might be better at 4 of the 5 starting positions than the Cavaliers. Now you might say the gulf between LeBron and whoever, he's got the advantage there, but the other 4 guys. And by the way, with the Celtics.
Kevin Love is probably better than
I don't know about Kevin Love.
Anyone the Heat has.
Debatable.
Okay, very good. I don't know about that.
I think I'd take James Johnson over Kevin Love.
Very good.
I think the Cavs would, too.
Okay.
So, Mike, do you agree with me? I have the Heat winning the East. Let's take some calls.
Arash, you're on 790 The Ticket. Arash.
Stop signs are overrated. I don't need a sign to tell me when to stop. If I see somebody coming, I'll stop. I just want to give a big shout-out to Batard's Reddit page. These guys are really amazing and do a wonderful job. They support you 100%. Peace out.
Rasham. Put that on the poll, Bill. Are stop signs overrated?
In Miami, dude? Like, in Miami. We have the worst drivers anywhere. I could get into an accident 3 times a day if I'm not paying attention in Miami. I'm not kidding. That would be the average. I would get, if I started behaving the way that people drive in Miami like they do and was in my phone all the time, 3 a day is what I would average.
Have you noticed that everyone's been so nice since Irma? Everyone's been so nice and helpful and letting people drive this way and that way. When does that stop? I'm guessing like tomorrow.
When the bank's open. When the bank's reopen.
It's going to stop soon, though, right? Let's take another call. Arash, by the way, you guys notice this? Become a big-time celebrity. There was a sign at College Game Day for me. Thank you. And I was disappointed to not see one week, too. So, Stugotz Army, let's get on this. Every week for the remainder of the season. College Game Day. I want a sign. But Arash was part of my sign. Stugotz Army, I deploy them and they will do this for me. Okay, I am telling you.
Hold on a second. I deploy them. I mean, everyone is judging you with so much hatred in the other room right now. They are disgusted with you, and they are hard to discuss because they're familiar with your work in this area.
Yeah.
I mean, I just see Chris mouthing, "You're disgusting. You're the worst," just spitting at him. And I don't know what Guillermo's saying.
Nothing's ever good enough for him.
No,
like a sign is okay.
No,
every week I want one.
I take a rash off.
Guillermo, he and I were just talking about this during the break. It was just during the break. He's like, I don't know why I'm so tired. I'm like, Scotch, you're tired because all you do is sit around wanting everything.
I got to work on that.
And, just be happy with what you have instead of noticing all the things you don't have. And so what he noticed was the sign that wasn't there week 2.
Yep. And I also noticed the Rash's name on my sign.
You didn't think...
Take it easy.
You didn't think he merited fame to be... You've done a lot of work.
15 years to create a rash, right?
You've done a lot of work to get on that sign. And a rash is some Johnny come lately.
God, I hope they're only Rasham signs.
This wiener come lately over here.
Just apples overrated.
Stop signs overrated.
Yeah, just flood College Game Day with nothing but a rash. Have a rash appear on Around the Horn.
He's so furious. It's going to happen. That's going to happen. Let's take a call.
I felt bad for Stugotz the other day because I saw Clinton Yates
enough of this
on Around the Horn.
What did he ever write?
I was told he's a writer.
What did he write?
Yeah,
show me something that
he wrote for the Washington Post, and he still writes for.
What has he done for me? Oh, he does.
Undefeated.
Okay. All right. So he wrote something recently. Listen, do you think if I just write something, anything, that they'll let me on that show?
I think
because I wrote something once about LeBron James when he left Miami. You really wrote it for me,
right?
But it was good. It was very well received. A lot of people read it.
I edited it for you. I did not write it for you.
A lot of people read it. Whatever was good.
Whatever I handed Dan and was then handed back to me was completely different. Like the thing I handed him and what he handed back to me. What I handed him was garbage. What he handed back to me was beautiful. You're good at this, man.
It'd be great.
You want to write me something? Like you write something, put my name on it. Maybe that gets me on Around the Horn. Can we do that?
I mean, that would end my career very promptly if we got caught.
But mine would be blossoming.
I mean, you would have a different set of problems on your hand.
But I do wonder. I'm asking you seriously because I know that you've spoken to people, and I appreciate that. Do you think if I write something and it gets posted on ESPN.com, that they will put me on the show?
I think what they want on that show is someone who's got journalism training.
Oh.
And then also happens to write.
Okay.
Like that they've...
Like Lil Wayne. Say call.
Matt, you're on with Stugotz on 790 The Ticket on Wake and Take. Go ahead.
Yeah, jerk or no jerk. Mowing your lawn at 9 in the morning. My neighbor does it every week. It's my day off, and I'm about to murder him.
Well, what's your day off?
Wednesday.
I mean, on a weekend, I would say yes. On a weekend, on a Saturday or Sunday, I would say jerk. On a Wednesday morning at 9 a.m., I mean, how's he supposed to know that's your day off, you know?
All right, jerk or no jerk, Guillermo. Put it on the poll. Jerk or no jerk. Weekday 9 a.m. lawn mowing.
Fat Chris, what do you think? Jerk or no jerk?
During the week, it's cool.
Yeah, I
Weekends,
think it's cool.
Get out of my life.
Guillermo, you good with that?
Yeah, he's being considerate of people he thinks are off on the weekend.
Right, he's doing it on Wednesday because he thinks everyone's working. Mike, you good?
Don't murder him.
Right?
I'm cool with it.
Yeah. You agree with us?
No, I don't like the 9 a.m. lawnmower.
But on a Wednesday, if you can do it at 9 a.m. on a Wednesday, he thinks everyone's working. Considerate.
Well, it is and it isn't considerate. He's trying to stay out of maximum heat. Like, consideration is putting someone else's interests ahead of your own.
Right.
He's trying to stay out of the noon heat, so he's doing it at 9 a.m.
But it's a Wednesday.
I know, but he could do it at noon.
Yes, but I mean, you should have selfish motives. Yes, it's very hot at noon. Mm-hmm. So do it at Wednesday at 9. Okay. And that guy should be working Wednesday at 9. Let's go.
Okay, but you're making
a full-time job.
Okay, but you're making this person considerate, and I'm saying it's not quite considerate. That's all I'm objecting to.
Well, there's never going to be a perfect time. People sleep at all times.
That's right. Okay, but noon is not inconsiderate.
What if his neighbor works a night shift, and at noon he's getting home at 7 in the morning, and at noon he doesn't want to be bothered?
Where's the line, Dan?
I don't know. That's why I put it up for a poll.
Perhaps talk to your neighbor. Open up a dialogue.
Don't talk to your neighbors, man.
Never do that. Shouts, facts, and info.
Only bad things happen after you, right? Nothing good happens after you spark that initial conversation with your neighbors.
Oh, I don't think so. I've lived in my community for about 7 years now, and the first words I shared with my neighbors was about hurricane shutters and preparing and asking them for help, and I felt like a real jerk.
I want to ask the audience, did that happen to you? Put that on the poll. Is the first time that you spoke to your neighbors needing help because you were being yourself about Hurricane Irma?
I spoke to my neighbor the first time right before Irma because I needed help taking my TV that's outside, taking it down from the wall. And he came over and did it.
People were really nice.
I gave him a bottle of wine.
Oh, yeah? That's nice of you.
Thank you. Manischewitz. He didn't know the difference. Let's take a call. Who do we have there, Dana?
Mario, you're on Wake and Take with Stugotz. Go ahead, Mario.
Hey, guys. Big fan. Just want to say the 5 years are awesome together. And I got a question for Stugotz.
Yep.
If your daughters asked you to marry them off to professional athletes, what 2 athletes would you pick?
Wow, good question. Rasham. Which 2 athletes would I pick? That is a phenomenal question.
Once upon a time, it was Mark Sanchez.
That's when we were going to back-to-back AFC Championship
I know, but I will
games,
remind you to choose wisely here because don't go with someone fleeting because you wouldn't like right now if Mark Sanchez had married your daughters, if they'd been of age, right now you'd just have Mark Sanchez sitting around your home on football Sundays and you'd be wanting him to leave.
You'd want someone that would treat your daughter fair,
right?
That has a lot to lose, that has a good public image, and is very good at what they do, and is a pillar of the community.
I was thinking Tim Tebow.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a good
Tebow
one.
Be a good one.
That's a good one.
So that's one.
That's a good choice.
One. Yeah, Tebow.
Well done. For selfish motives, that's an excellent choice. Number 2 is going to be harder.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking, this is tough. Just a lot of money there. And I think he's a good guy. Giancarlo Stanton. Guaranteed contract.
Well done, Alex.
Really good looking. Thank you.
Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to do this. How did we not do this? The Giancarlo Stanton music video. How did we not give that a porn name? How did we not? Guillermo, you had an option, right? You had you texted me something. Opt out coming. Oh, I thought you were joking. You were just saying the opt out was coming.
It's coming.
I thought you were making the porn joke.
No. What's
Seems
the
like a
joke
miscommunication.
I don't get it.
Okay.
I don't know what the joke there might be. That title, because there's no joke in that title.
Don't you guys think that would be a fun game to play? I'm sorry, I interrupted Wake and Take.
No. Play the game. Please. This is exciting. We're all excited.
Play the game.
Play the game.
Responsibly, but play it.
Opt out coming is good, right?
We don't have to say it anymore.
All right. Adrian, you're on with Stugotz and Wake and Take.
Jordan Spieth would have been a good one there, too.
Stugotz, are you going to bet
Augusta
for the next 15 games?
What'd you say? I'm sorry, I missed that.
All right, are you going to bet against the Jets for the next 15?
Wow. It's a good question. Rasham. I mean, I just did Stugotz. Spoiler alert. I took the Raiders. Who are the Jets playing this weekend?
It's a Raiders.
What are the Raiders favored by?
I think it's -14.
Yeah, it's the largest they've ever been favored by since 2001 when they played a very bad Cowboy team.
I'm not going to bet against the Jets the entire year. Not going to do it. They're going to win a couple of games, so I'm not going to do it. It is funny. Have you seen what people are doing? Like, they're just, the way they're covering the Jets, the way the Jets media is covering the Jets is they're not covering the Jets. They're covering the 4 quarterbacks the Jets could potentially take next year in the draft. Funny. Like, the local beat reporters are doing that.
That's funny.
They're like interviewing Josh Rosen. Not talking to any of the Jet players because no one there to interview. All right, let's take a call.
Brandon, you're on Wake and Take with Stugotz on 790. Go ahead, Brandon.
Hey, Stugotz. I want to know how the Buccaneers are this season.
The Buccaneers.
The Buccaneers, man. Jameis Winston. He was one of the guys that I had taken a big step forward, and I've been thinking about that for like a couple of years, that he's going to finally take the big leap forward, and he's yet to do it. And I thought he was going to do it this season, but I don't think he is. I just don't.
Wait a minute, why'd you change your mind? They haven't played a game. They just had a game postponed. Why would you change your mind on that?
I don't like the things I'm hearing from my sources out of Tampa. They are telling me. I have sources there. You guys don't think that I do, but I do. I do a Sunday show, and unfortunately we have to bring a Buccaneers beat reporter on a couple of times per season. And she's become a friend of mine, and I asked her, and she said Jameis is not developing the way they thought he would.
You're supposed to protect your sources journalistically.
I didn't say your name.
Even Lil Wayne knows that.
I didn't say anyone's name.
You said her. She covers the Bucs.
And a lot of women out there covering the Bucs.
How many have been on your radio show?
3 of them. Shell game.
You've had 3 different women that cover the Bucs on your radio show.
I'm telling you, they put these NFL Nation blitzes on me.
He's so proud of himself. He is so proud of himself with the lie. Like, he was like 3 of them, and he just sat there, and none of us believed. Like, all of us stared at him like there's no way that you had 3 women. In the history of the Tampa Bay Bucs, they probably haven't had 3 women reporters. And you had all of them on last week. A round table of Bucs football on a game that was canceled by a hurricane. Your lie, my friend, has